Look, this is what I've been saying in the 2 years now that I've been doing this silly show. The Vikings are like Lucy, and the Vikings fans are like Charlie Brown. And every time Lucy says she's going to hold that football, she yanks it away at the last minute, and Charlie Brown goes ass over apple cart. Similarly, the Vikings, despite all of our instincts telling us that they're going to lose again, that we shouldn't get our hopes up, the Vikings make us believe again, right before breaking our hearts. I'm not falling for it again. The Vikings have, yes, had some good games. They're looking good on offense, but they're going into Seattle, where they haven't won, I believe, since dinosaurs walked the earth. In prime time, against a Seahawks offense that is just laying waste to its opponents. It's not happening again. The Vikings are not going to trick me into believing that they're going to pull off some miraculous victory, look really good, just in time for them to break my heart at the last minute. They did it again. They did it again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Week 6 of the NFL season. Obviously, the Vikings went into Seattle and looked really, really good for about 3.5 quarters, and like 5 minutes of the game ruined the rest of it. You know what? Let's start with the beer. This week, I have Bon Bon from Sheeps Brewing. You may recall 3 Sheeps is what we started the season with. Corey and JP and I out on the patio with their pills. This is their Chocolate Milk Stout. And I needed something sweet after that bitter taste left in my mouth after the Seahawks game. It is chocolatey, decadent, and smooth, 5.5% alcohol by volume, and again, from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Nope, this way. Well, surprising absolutely no one, it's dark. It's funny, when I started doing these, I was amazed by how dark some of these could be. I'm holding this up to the light, and there is almost no light transmission through it. So, pretty rich, I think. Let's give it a try. Skál if you live there. Yeah. I will say this is, I had a peanut butter cup porter or stout recently, and it was good. I don't remember who it was from, but it wasn't quite as, the chocolate I didn't think came through as well as it does in this. I feel like it was very peanut buttery, and I feel like if I mixed it with this, like in a black and tan sort of situation, it would make a really amazing peanut butter cup beer. The chocolate comes through very, very clear. It's very smooth, with a little bit of a bitter finish, but even that kind of fades away pretty quickly, and you're just kind of left with the rich aftertaste. This is very good. Very hearty, but not so heavy that, you can't have a couple, maybe a few of them. Be very good by a crackling fireplace. On to today's game. Well, taking a step back, it's been said 100 times now. If you follow the Vikings at all, if you listen to sports radio, if you listen to national broadcasts even, the Vikings' losses, 4 of them, have come against really good teams. Like losing to the Packers, who are on absolute fire, losing to the Titans, who just shellacked the also undefeated Bills, losing to the Seahawks, who, again, aren't great defensively, but were rapidly put into the discussion of Super Bowl favorites, the way their offense was playing out of their minds. The Colts, a little harder to explain. I don't really know what happened there. But, okay, so it gets to week 5. The Vikings slowed down the Titans. They really, really took control of the Seahawks, offensively and defensively, and really slowed them down most of the game. Coming right out of halftime, the Seahawks put up like 21 points in 5 minutes. Congratulations, Marie. And then after that, the Vikings recovered again, got the lead back, took possession. They did to the Seahawks what the Packers did to the Vikings in week 1. Like, time of possession was so heavily in the Vikings' favor, and they just couldn't close it out. I know just last week I said, like, the one thing that the Vikings probably don't want to do is have a middling season. You'd rather lose bad and get a good draft pick or make it to the playoffs. I thought there was no chance that the Vikings were going to make it to the playoffs this year, even with the extra playoff position. But the way their offense is clicking, I mean, and really has in almost every game except for the Colts, even the Packers in the second half, they kind of woke up a little bit. They're really seeming to hit their stride, and the defense, if you can slow down Russell Wilson, you have a chance. And this week, they have the opportunity to prove it against a hapless Falcons team. The Vikings beat the Texans, and they fired their coach. The Falcons fired their coach last week, and now they're coming to Minnesota. The poor Falcons have just losing in the Super Bowl after being up 28-3. Maybe some of you are familiar with the game. It just seemed to steal their soul. Like, they can't get it back. Their mojo is gone, despite having a lot of the same players, and even in some cases, like Calvin Ridley, young, promising talent coming up. Their defense is banged up. Their defensive coordinator is now their head coach. But they still have Julio Jones. They still have Matt Ryan. They've got Todd Gurley now, who's showing signs of life. This is a good test for the Vikings because it's a talented team that hasn't been able to put it together, just like I think the Vikings are a talented team that hasn't been able to put it together. In Kirk Cousins' tenure here, and it's not all in Kirk, it's just a way of measuring time, right? In the last few years, the Vikings have beat bad teams and lost to good teams. This is a good litmus test. They came out last week against the Seahawks passing, which was really exciting to see, because even if they really, really, really want to get their running backs going, which, by the way, Dalvin Cook is out for at least a week, even if they want to get their running backs going, passing, to get the ball moving, to get the offense rolling, to keep the defense on their heels, that's a good thing. I'm glad that they're mixing it up. The Falcons' defense for years now has given up tons of yardage to running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. And Alexander Mattison is a capable backup, more than capable even. And the Vikings' offensive line looked really good in run blocking. I mean, I'm thinking back now to how the Vikings took control of the Seahawks game right off the bat, ran the ball absolutely all over them for the duration of the game, except for when they really needed that last, yard or so, and they passed when they needed to. I think the Vikings have a chance to have an absolute blow-up game this week. I mean, Alexander Mattison gets 100 yards on the ground, over 100 yards to both Thielen and Jefferson, just like they did against, I want to say, the Titans. I'm curious to see how the scouting works out. Obviously, the Vikings are aware of the fact that the Falcons give up tons of yardage to receiving backs, and I'm curious if they scheme a little more for Mattison to do more catching than running. I will spare everybody the details, the injury list and everything, changes on the offensive line. This should be a game the Vikings win, which, of course, because I'm saying that, I'll probably have to do a similar intro next week where I eat my words. The really interesting thing is the Vikings are a field goal and, a yard or so shy of being a 3-2 team. All hope isn't lost yet. The way I look at it, as long as the Vikings don't overreact and start firing coaches and trading away players, the Vikings are going to be the team that next August, all the pundits are talking about how, well, if you look at the Vikings season, they lost 6 games by 3 points or less, and if those games go the other way, they're a playoff team. I'm not saying the Vikings are world beaters. Again, they've been pretty bad at beating good teams. But if they can make the playoffs and keep things interesting into January, I am here for it, as the youths say. Anyway, let's just hope this one isn't quite the emotional roller coaster that last week was. We're heading into the bye next week. It looks like the game's on track to play, despite the Falcons' COVID tests. Let's go into the bye week with a W. Skál fyrir. Thank you for watching, and go Vikings.